Live from the Built Ford Tough Studio, Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan, simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And if you're on the free Odyssey app, good Wednesday morning. You had both owners of the football teams talking yesterday and making headlines. You also had Lamar Jackson back on Twitter 6 hours ago addressing the him quitting on the team stuff that has been out there. I saw a bunch of pictures, people tweeting me, Boomer Esiason behind the glass at the Ranger game. And tomorrow, yes, tomorrow, we've got real legitimate regular season baseball. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Had a great time at the Garden last night. Rangers just absolutely ran over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Not a great first period, even though they did score 3 goals in the first period. But they pulled away as the game went on, so it was very enjoyable to celebrate all those goals and everything else. It's a pain in the ass getting in and out of the Garden, people screaming at you. I mean, just rando people standing on the corner, screaming at you. Not because they know who I am.
Just for the hell of it?
I don't know. I don't know how you explain it. I really, I don't. I mean, like, I know that they have now a plan B for Penn Station and everything. They have a major problem over there. They do. I mean, there's all sorts of people they're not going to the game. They're just standing out yelling at you while you're going to the game.
Okay.
And I think we got.
And you're not the only one. It's not because it's you. You're Boomer Esiason.
No,
you're 6'4".
That's what happens when we leave the building.
Of course,
right.
But so that's just everybody getting yelled at. And this is going to happen. This is going to happen in Knicks games, Ranger games,
right.
Of course.
And it's been going on for years, and it's not a pleasant experience, especially when you think about how much we were trying to figure out last night. And I know I've done this before, and I've been a season ticket holder for about 12 or 13 years, and I know how much the tickets cost to get into the building.
Sure.
And the seats that I had last night were friends of mine seats who more than happy gave them to me, and sitting right behind the glass, and those are really the Delta expensive seats and all that other stuff. So we were trying to think, like, what do you think that the Rangers are grossing, for a home game that gets 18,000 people with all the sponsorship and all the suites sold and all the seats sold? We were thinking if you average the average ticket $200, would you say?
Sure. I mean, especially, with the fact that those seats are so expensive, yes, I would say the average would be around there.
And I mean, and the place was jammed last night, and it was a rando Columbus team, one of the worst teams in the league, that is going to be fighting for the first overall pick. So it's as this thing gets going, and the fact that the Rangers play the Devils Thursday night, buckle up because these games now mean something, and we are getting into the intensity part of the year. I'm assuming that it's somewhere around $3 to $3.6 million a game a night.
Per game.
I was thinking that.
Was Dimitri helping you figure this out? Because he's not particularly bright.
No, he was dealing with some other issues. Yeah, but no, he wasn't. But yeah, Plansker's a pretty bright guy.
He's a very bright guy,
right?
Yes.
So yeah, we were trying to think about that and going, man, how do these NHL players not make what other players are making in other sports? And when you sit down on the glass, I mean, you see how fast and just how physical it is. And last night, I wouldn't say it was all that intensive a game just simply because Columbus isn't that great.
Well, you know the answer to that question, right?
I guess it's TV, money, and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, I will say that for all the years that I was going to the Ranger games as a season ticket holder, and even when Jeff Gorton came out and said, we're trading away Ryan McDonough, we're going to start over and all that other stuff, and I got pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that the product on the ice, even when they're losing, is still a quality product. I mean, these guys are going after each other. I mean, and going after it hard. I mean, and it is quick and it is fast, and you get the perspective of that when you're on the glass.
Well, of course. I mean, we've said that for years, that the in-house product of hockey is one of the best experiences you can have. It just doesn't translate to TV as well as some of these other sports, and that's the difference. I mean, if you look at the number of people that are watching these games and what you're going to get for rights fees that are paid, which translates into salaries, and it's not the Rangers are the top example. There's a couple of those organizations, the original six, that when they're playing
Toronto,
well,
Montreal, the Rangers, of course,
Boston,
Detroit, Chicago, Boston.
Right.
Boston's selling out every night too. They've had a historic season up there this year.
But for every Boston, you've got Phoenix. For every Montreal, you've got the Florida Panthers.
Which is tough. I mean, I do know that Columbus, Nashville, those cities do well with their attendance.
Yeah, especially, yeah.
Right. So there are teams where you would say there's no way that they're going to be doing well. But, I've been to a Columbus game and I've been to a Nashville game. They sell out. They sell, those teams sell out. Now, they don't have the prices, that the Rangers do, but the Rangers obviously have a higher overhead than some of these other small market teams. It's just a weird thing. You're sitting there and you're going, my God, man, this place is packed. Everybody's eating and drinking.
And then you go outside and you get screamed at.
Yeah. And then there's more construction around the place. And then they're trying to figure out what to do now, plan B with Penn Station. And they got all sorts of crap going on. But the one good thing is that they still have their liquor license. So that was good.
Yeah, right. As of right now, they still have their liquor license.
Right.
So did you hear the John Mara, the Woody Johnson comments yesterday?
I did.
And then also I saw from our buddy Cody Benjamin on CBS Sports, who seems to be writing about all these things with the Jets. I've never even seen this guy or met this guy, but he had an interesting article this morning about what's holding up the Aaron Rodgers.
It's very close.
Okay, but apparently it's the Jets that are holding it up now.
Well, they want to make sure, like I was saying to you, that they don't want to go like crazy with the compensation package because they don't know if he's going to play next year or not.
That is what apparently is holding it up. That there's a protection out there. A protection.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
you.
Well,
Well, that's the first time I heard that there was a protection.
No,
pick. You didn't say protection pick. You didn't say that. You said that they don't know if he's going to play, but I didn't know that was part of the compensation package.
What I was saying to you is that pick, that protection pick, works both ways. It works for Green Bay if the Jets have a really successful run and Aaron Rodgers plays the majority of the games, probably 75 or 80% of the games.
Yeah.
And then if he comes back, then that pick for the Packers would be higher. If the Jets play and let's say he gets hurt or they don't make it far enough and he's not coming back for a second year, well, then they don't want to have to give something for that.
Sure.
That's all. That's the protection pick that I've been talking about. I've been talking about flipping the first two picks.
Sure.
I've been talking about one of these second-round picks this year, and I've been talking about a conditional pick. We call it conditional. What's his name? Cody?
Yeah.
Cody's calling it, a protection pick.
Well,
it's conditional protection, whatever word you want to use.
I just didn't know it was the Jets that were holding this up.
I've told you 1,000.
You didn't tell me the Jets were holding it up. I'm sorry. You've been right about a lot of stuff. You haven't been on top of everything 10 days before everybody else has said it. No. But I did not know that the Jets were holding this up because of that other side of this thing. We talked all day yesterday about how was the Packers general manager. The entire day. Not once did either one of us say that the Jets were holding this up because they were afraid that the Aaron Rodgers wouldn't play and they needed something as far as the conditional pick on their end. That was a little bit more
all right, so
detail.
Yesterday was not the first day we've started as a radio show here.
Right.
You and I have been together for a long time.
Yes, this is year 6. Yes.
And I have said repeatedly that the Jets don't want to go crazy with the compensation because they're not sure he's going to come back for 2024.
I know that. I'm just saying there was more detail yesterday. There was more detail in the sense that I thought that the Packers were asking for more when it was really that the Jets are now asking for more. That is the detail I did not know about yesterday, and we didn't talk about. So I'm not saying that you weren't on top of all this. Clearly you were. But the detail I found out yesterday was it sounds like that if Joe Douglas dropped that part of it, of the protection of Aaron Rodgers not playing in 2024, that the deal would be done already.
Right. So what I would say, if you really want to be right, if he doesn't play in 2024, we'll give you a 4th-round pick or something just to get the thing done.
Right.
I mean, at this point. And, Woody Johnson's getting impatient. He's saying things to the nature like, I'm impatient, I want to win now. He's been saying that for years.
But has he? I feel like he's always been like, there's not going to be a playoff mandate and yada, yada, yada. Like, it's funny because the Jet fan is impatient, but I feel like that Woody Johnson has been exceptionally patient.
Well, the Jet fan has right to be impatient. They really haven't anything since, Rex Ryan was here. So,
right.
Look, it's going to happen soon. If you
very close.
Yes, they're very close.
Very
it's
close.
Going to happen soon.
And very close meaning end of the week.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if it got done, sometime today or tomorrow.
Wow.
I mean, just simply because they'll cool heads will prevail. And remember, the NFL has to do their scheduling.
Yes, and what is that? May that happens? The schedule release.
I believe the schedule release is after the draft.
Yeah. Okay. NFL schedule release is going to be. What day is the schedule released? Well, last year it was May 12th, so I don't.
So after the draft.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to find exactly when it is, but I don't have it right now. 2022.
They want to make sure that if the Jets are going to get Aaron Rodgers, which they will, and OBJ, they want those guys on at least 5 national games.
And they're just going to let Al Michaels make the schedule this year, correct?
Is there a max for national games?
I think it's usually 5, something like that.
All right, so you max out at 5.
Yeah.
So the Jets will 100% max out.
Once this all comes through, and then the NFL, as the schedule makers get going, they start looking at the teams and looking at the potential games like we were doing before.
Right.
Remember, we went over the potential schedule openers.
That's right.
That opening weekend, where would the Jets play? Who would they play? Would it be at home? Would it be on the road? Would it be Sunday night?
I want a Jets-Giants Monday night opener. That's what I want. That's what I would like to see. Monday night football. Jets-Giants, week 1. Get that thing over with, pump it up. Giants week, Jets week. That would be great. Middle of the season would be fun too, but you don't know how these seasons are going to go. So I like that. That would be a good one to start the season because they're playing each other. And they're both going out to Vegas this year, which is going to be great for the fans. So, yeah, there is a lot of that team. So we're going to have Thursday night, Sunday night, multiple Sunday nights for the Jets.
I would think so.
Multiple. I'm going to say they might even play on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys.
That's a definite possibility, and that could definitely be a CBS game.
Ooh, all right. I mean, now we're talking. CBS getting in on the action there.
Even though that we're not really an AFC goes to NFC team, it's on CBS. We're not really doing that anymore. Now it's a kind of a free-for-all.
Right.
And, again, the schedule makers want to try to keep all their partners happy.
Yes, and Amazon being one of those partners.
Yes.
And so they tabled these discussions until May as far as the flex scheduling with Thursday Night Football. Now, John Mara came out and said that it is physical abuse for the players when it comes to 2 weeks ahead of time, telling them that they have to play a Thursday night game they were planning on playing on Sunday, and also how unfair it is to the fans switching all of that around. If it's a Sunday 1 p.m. game, Sunday 4:25 game, and then on top of that, then you're saying, oh, by the way, 2 weeks ahead of time, we could take your beautiful Sunday 1 o'clock tailgate that you're there with all your season ticket holders and slap it on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock when you got to go to work the next day.
Yeah, think about it. There's basically a small amount of home games.
Yeah.
And people really do schedule their life around their football teams because there aren't 162 games or 82 games or whatever. There's the max you can have without counting preseason is 9 home games.
Sure.
And they flip-flop that around. All I know is that I would hope that that they wouldn't do this. I mean, it's hard enough as it is, and you want the fans to be convenienced, and I think most fans want to go see their team, especially when their team is good.
Yeah, and listening to Al and Jerry this morning, I was with Al on this because the NFL doesn't care about the person that's going to the stadium because they know that they're going to be at the stadium. What they care about is putting the best game on television. So if you get more eyeballs on Thursday Night Football on TV, that's a hell of a lot better than making sure like maybe there's 3,000 people that didn't go to the game that would have. And the players, we've seen throughout the years that the NFL only cares about the players when there's a controversy.
I'm trying to think about our schedule, and if I remember correctly, and again, sometimes it gets a little foggy,
Yeah.
In 1987, we won 4-11 because we had the strike year. We had one less game, the whole thing.
Yep.
And so we were not predicted in 1988 to come back and be one of the best teams in the league. As a matter of fact, our 87 team was I still say is our best team. We were just derailed by the strike and everything else. So we come back in 88. I want to say 3/4 of the schedule was probably 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Wow.
Because we're a small market team.
Yeah.
We're the Bengals, and almost every game was played at 1 o'clock, and there was no flex scheduling. I don't even think we played a national game that year.
Did they have Sunday Night Football at that point, too?
It was Monday night. It was still
I know.
Monday.
It was just...
No, it was just Monday night.
Just Monday night, yep.
So, I believe, yeah. So, it was just Monday Night Football. There was no Sunday night.
Yeah, so, I mean, you probably didn't even play a 4:25 game at that point.
Only if we went West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, the simpler times back in the day.
It was great.
It made a lot of sense. Did you play a ton of national games the year after the Super Bowl?
I felt like we were on Monday night a couple times, a lot of 4:25 games.
We're going to be exhausted this football season.
Yes, I'm
you
already
always
exhausted.
are, but
Yes.
the rest of us are going to be exhausted now, too, because we're going to be staying up till about midnight watching Aaron Rodgers and Odell Beckham Jr. play on.
Well, which would be great, which is what we want, yes.
It will be, but it's very difficult to go to sleep after those games, man. When you're fired up and you're watching it, you're locked in, you might as well just come right into work at that point.
Tell me about it. I have.
I know you have many, many times. All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Quick break. We get Jerry Recco in here in just a couple of minutes.